Gentlemen, this is Vito Scaletta.
Finding actors to get who could do this kind of dialogue, who can actually understand half of these words and perform them correctly. Just finding actors who wouldn't overshadow the character.
Know that this family of ours is a secret.
Hey, come on in, let's talk.
The dialogue had to be rewritten because obviously it was translated from Czech into what I call British English, which is completely 100% different from the way the guys in this game talk.
Okay, Joe and me will go to the apartment.
Recreating a world that doesn't exist anymore except in pictures is something that's quite difficult to do, but we had a long time to do it, and I think you'll agree we nailed it. So the hardest part was just getting the game engine done that could do these amazing things. Like when you're driving, it feels like a racing game. When you're shooting, it feels like a shooter, and it takes place in this gigantic open city, and there's no load times. So just getting an engine that could do that across the PS3, 360, and PC, that was probably the biggest technical challenge.
May my soul burn in hell.
One thing that we originally planned for the game was melee weapons, meaning like baseball bats and things like that. And the Mafia doesn't really walk around with baseball bats and hit each other, and they shoot each other. That's pretty much how it works, but it would have been cool to have them in there if we could have had them in there, but we couldn't get it to the same level of quality as the shooting and the driving and the regular melee combat. We started from the 40s, which is closer to the Mafia 1 feel. The cars are older and sort of purpose-built people movers. They're not really sexy. The music was, swing and jazz and, typical pop stuff that they had back then. Fashions were more conservative. And the war was going on. The war dominated the news. There was no television. Advertising was very simple. Then you get to the 50s, and all of a sudden cars look like rocket ships, and they're built to be these like sexy things that appeal to your emotions more, than your head. And music, rock and roll, the birth of rock and roll, and which culturally changed the world eventually, started in America, and you get to witness all these things in the 50s. So it feels like almost like two different cities.
Secret of our way of life.
Aim for the fat bastard.
May my soul burn in hell.
I started planning this soundtrack about 5 years ago. When I first got wind of the project and how much music they wanted, we actually ended up getting double or triple the music that was originally planned for it. The game features over 120 songs. Mafia 1, I think, featured around 30.
Just like this saint. This has nothing to do with friendship, Vito. This is business.